Hey guys, hey guys, it's Mrs. Smith. No, it's nice to see you again. Um, I have been really impressed with how hard everybody's been working. I've been checking every day, and I've talked to lots of moms and dads, and both Miss Marshall and I miss you very, very much. Um, Today I'm going to be reading again from The Witches, and I'm starting on page 73. If you remember when Miss Marshall was reading, um, they were spying on the meeting with all of these witches. Um, and they were talking about how much the witch children smell. So, filthy, smelly children. And as this witch spoke, flecks of pale blue phlegm shot from her mouth like little bullets. Phlegm is I am asking you, she screamed. Nobody answered her question. Children smell, she screamed. They stink out the world. We do not want these children around here. The bald heads in the audience all nodded vigorously. One child a week is no good to me, the Grand High Witch cried out. Is that the best you can do? We will do better, murmured the audience. We will do much better. Better is no good either, shrieked the Grand High Witch. I demand maximum results. So here are my orders. My orders are that every single child in this country shall be rubbed out, squashed, squirted, spitted, fritted before I come here again in 1 year's time. And I have to double check. Oh, I didn't start my timer. In 1 year's time, all of her, she does world, it's world. Vigorous. She likes the word v. Do I make myself clear? A great gasp went through the audience. I saw the witches all looking at one another with deeply troubled expressions. All I heard one witch at the end of the row saying aloud, all of them? We can't possibly wipe out all of them. The Grand High Witch whipped around as though someone had stuck a skewer into her bottom. Who said that? She snapped. Who dares to argue with me? It was you. Was it not? She pointed a gloved finger, as sharp as a needle, as the witch who had spoken. I didn't mean it, your Grand Highness, the witch cried out. I didn't mean to argue. I was just talking to myself. You dared to argue with me? Screamed the Grand High Witch. I was just talking to myself, cried the wretched witch. I swear it, your Grand Highness. She began to shake with fear. The Grand Highness Witch took a quick step forward, and when she spoke again, it was a voice that made my blood turn cold. A stupid witch who answers back must burn until her bones are black. She screamed. No, no, begged the witch in the front row. The Grand High Witch went on. A foolish witch without a brain must sizzle in the fiery flame. Save me, cried the wretched witch in the front row. The Grand High Witch took no notice of her, and she spoke again. An idiotic witch like you must roast upon the barbecue. Forgive me, oh, your Grand Highness, cried the miserable culprit. I didn't mean it. But the Grand High Witch continued with a terrible recital. A witch who dares to say I'm wrong will not be with us very long. A moment later, a stream of sparks that looked like tiny white-hot metal filings came shooting out of the Grand High Witch's eyes and flew straight towards the one who dared to speak. I saw the sparks striking against her and burrowing into her, and she screamed a horrible howling scream, and a puff of smoke rose up around her. A smell of burning meat filled the room. Nobody moved. Like me, they were all watching. They were all watching the smoke, and when it cleared away, the chair was empty. I caught a glimpse of something wispy white, like a little white cloud fluttering upwards and disappearing out the window. A great sigh rose up from the audience. The Grand High Witch glared around the room. I hope nobody else is going to make me cross today. There was a deathly silence. Frizzled like a fritter, the Grand High Witch. Cooked like a carrot. You will never see her again. Now we can get down to business. Formula 86, delayed action, mouse maker. Children are revolting, screamed the Grand High Witch. We will wipe them all away. We will scrub them off the face of the earth. We will flush them down the drain. Yes, yes, chanted the audience. Wipe them away, scrub them off the earth, flush them down the drain. Children are foul and filthy, thundered the Grand High Witch. They are, chorused the English witches. They are foul and filthy. Children are dirty and stinky, screamed the Grand High Witch. Dirty and stinky, cried the audience, getting more and more worked up. Children are smelling of dog droppings, screeched the Grand High Witch. Pooh, cried the audience. Pooh, pooh, pooh. They are worse than dog droppings, screeched the Grand High Witch. Dog's droppings is smelling like violets and primroses compared with children. Violets and primroses, chanted the audience. They were clapping and cheering almost every word spoken from the platform. The speaker seemed to have them completely under her spell. To talk about children is making me sick, screamed the Grand High Witch. I am feeling sick even thinking about them. Fetch me a basin. A basin is like a bowl to throw up in. The Grand High Witch paused and glared at the mass of eager faces in the audience. They waited, wanting more. So now, barked the Grand High Witch, so now I am having a plan. I'm having a giganticus plan for getting rid of every single child in the whole England. The witches gasped. They gaped. They turned and gave each other ghoulish grins of excitement. Yes, thundered the Grand High Witch. We shall squish them and squash them, and we shall make them disappear, and every single smelly little brat in England. Invenstroke. Oy, oy, oy. Whoopee! Cried the witches, clapping their hands. You're brilliant. Oh, Grand Highness, you are fantabulous. Shut up and listen, snapped the Grand High Witch. Listen very carefully and let us not be having any muck-ups. The audience leaned forward, eager to learn how this magic was going to be performed. Each and every one of you, thundered the Grand High Witch, is to go back to your hometowns immediately and resign. Quit your jobs. Resign. Give notice. Retire. We will, they cried. We will resign from our jobs. And after you have resigned from your jobs, the Grand High Witch went on, each and every one of you is going to go out and you will be buying. She paused. What will we be buying? What will we be buying? Tell us, O brilliant one. What is it that we shall be buying? Sweet shops, the Grand High Witch said. Sweet shops, they cried. We are going to buy sweet shops. What a frumptuous wheeze. Sweet shops. Candy. Each of you will be buying for herself a sweet shop. We will be buying the very best and most respectable sweet shops in England. We will, they answered. Their dreadful voices were like a chorus of dentist drills, all grinding away. Hi, Molly. I am wanting no tuppenny, happeny, cruppennies. My little tobacco-selling newspaper sweet shops, shouted the Grand High Witch. I am wanting you to get only the very best sweet shops. High with piles and piles of luscious sweets and tasty chocks. The best, they cried. We shall buy the best sweet shops in town. We will be having no trouble getting you what you want, the Grand High Witch, because you will be offering 4 times as much as a shop is worth, and nobody is refusing an offer like that. Money is not a problem to us witches, as you know very well. Not a problem. I have brought with me 6 trunks full of English banknotes with new and crisp. All of them homemade. She's giving them fake money. The witches in the audience grinned and appreciated this joke. At that point, one foolish witch got so excited at the possibility presented by owning a sweet shop that she leapt to her feet and shouted, "The children will come flocking to my shop, and I will feed them poisoned sweets and poisoned chalks and wipe them all out like weasels!" Oh! The room became suddenly silent. I saw the tiny body of the Grand Witch stiffen and go rigid. "Who spoke?" she shrieked. "It was you, wasn't it?" The culprit sat down and covered her face with her clawed fingers. "You blithering bumpkin," the Grand High Witch said. "You brainless Vambert. You are not realizing that if you're going around poisoning little children, you will be caught in 5 minutes flat. Never in my life am I hearing such walloping suggestions coming from a witch." The entire audience cowered and shook. I'm not quite sure what they all thought, as I did, that the terrible white-hot sparks were about to start flying again. Curiously enough, they didn't. "It's such a tom-fiddling idea is all you can be coming up with," the Grand High Witch said. "It is no wonder England is still swarming with rotten little children." There was another silence. The Grand High Witch glared at the witches in the audience. "Do you not know," she shouted to them, "that we witches are working only with magic?" "We know," the Grand High Witches, they all answered. "Of course we know." The Grand High Witch, which grated her bony glove hand against each other and cried out, "So each of you is owning a magnificent sweet shop. The next move is that each of you will be announcing in the window of your shop that on certain days you will be giving a great gala opening with free sweets and chalks to every child. That will bring them in, the greedy little brutes," cried the audience. "They'll be fighting to get through the doors. Next," continued the Grand High Witch, "you will prepare yourself for this great grand gala opening by filling every chalk and every sweet in your shop with my latest and greatest magic formula. This is known as Formula 86, Delayed Action Mouse Maker." "Delayed Action Mouse Maker," they chanted. "She's done it again. Her Highness has concocted yet another one of her wondrous magic child killers. How do we make it, oh brilliant one?" "Exercise patience, please. First, I am explaining to you how my Formula 86 Delayed Action Mouse Maker is working. Listen carefully." We're listening, said the audience, who are now jumping up and down in the chairs with excitement. "Delayed Action Formula Mouse Maker is a green liquid," explained the Grand High Witch. "And one droplet in each chalk or sweet will be quite enough. So here is what happens. Child eats chalk, which has in it Delayed Action Mouse Maker. Child goes home feeling fine. Child goes to bed feeling fine. Child wakes up in the morning, still okay. Child goes to school, still feeling fine. Formula, you understand, is delayed action, and it's not working yet. We understand, oh brainy one, but when does it start working? It is starting to work at exactly 9 o'clock when the child is arriving at school," shouted the Grand High Witch triumphantly. "Child arrives at school, Delayed Action Mouse Maker immediately turns. It starts to work. Child starts to shrink. Child is starting to grow fur. Child is starting to grow tail. All this is happening precisely 26 seconds. After 26 seconds, child is not child any longer. It is a mouse." "A mouse!" cried the witches. "What a frumptuous thought." "Classrooms will be swarming with mice," shouted the Grand High Witch. "Chaos and pandemonium will be reigning in every school in England. Teachers will be hopping up and down. Women teachers will be standing on desks and holding up skirts and yelling, 'Help, help, help, help! They will, cried the audience. And what, shouted the Grand High Witch, is happening next in every school? Tell us, they cried. Oh, brainy one. The Grand High Witch stretched her stringy neck upward and grinned at the audience, showing 2 rows of pointed teeth, slightly blue. She raised her voice louder than ever and shouted, Mousetraps is coming out! Mousetraps, cried the witches. And cheese, shouted the Grand High Witch. Teachers is all rushing, running, and getting mousetraps, and baiting them with cheese, and putting them down all over the school. Mice is nibbling cheese. Mousetraps is going off all over the school. Mousetraps is going snippity-snap, and mouse heads is rolling across the floors like marbles. All over England, in every school in England, noises of snapping mousetraps will be heard. At this point, the disgusting old Grand High Witch began to do a sort of witch's dance, up and down the platform, stamping her feet and clapping her hands. The entire audience joined in the clapping and the foot stomping. They were making such a tremendous racket that I thought for sure Mr. Stringer would hear it and come banging down the door, but he didn't. Then, through all the noise, I heard the voice of the Grand High Witch screaming out some sort of awful, gloating song.